Hey guys, what's up? SaberMichael1 here, and I'm bringing you guys some more pro Overwatch news, and today we're doing the Overwatch League predictions for the first week. Who I think is going to win, and who I think is going to lose in this first week. So, let's go over the week 1 matchups right now. So day 1. The Wednesday matches are San Francisco Shock versus the Los Angeles Valiant, the Shanghai Dragons versus the Los Angeles Gladiators, Dallas Fuel versus the Seoul Dynasty. So the 3 winners are going to be the 3 home teams, I feel. Los Angeles Valiant, Los Angeles Gladiators, and the Seoul Dynasty. So let's go over the scores and how I think each team will do on the maps. I guess I should have opened the Overwatch League website before doing this because I need to see the actual maps, and I'm sorry. I'm a mess right now. So, for the San Francisco Shock versus Los Angeles Valiant, they play on Dorado, Temple of Anubis, Ilios, and Numbani. I think that the Valiants are going to take Dorado pretty easily, I think. Well, maybe not easily, but I think the Valiant will be able to take Dorado. Anubis, that one's a little bit more of a toss-up because of San Francisco's better Widow play, but I think the Valiants can, because assault maps, they're basically a lot more team coordinated, and I feel like the Valiants have a lot more team coordination right now than San Francisco. So I feel that the Valiant will take Temple of Anubis, although it might be like a 3-2 score, 4-2, 4-3. I feel like it's going to go into extra rounds. Valiant versus San Francisco on Ilios. This is the map that I think San Francisco has the best chance of taking because they have the better Widowmaker, and Widow can be used on 2 points decently effectively. So I feel like they'll win it 2-0 or 2-1 depending on how the maps come up. They're definitely going to win Ruins. I can see them winning Lighthouse. But if it comes to the Well, that's the map I think Valiant will take. But still, San Francisco will take map 3, 2-1. So Dorado, I think the Valiants are going to win 3-1 on Dorado. Or 2-1, I don't know exactly. Okay, yeah, they're going to win 2-1 because the home team defends first. I forgot about that. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, Dorado is going to be a 4-2, 4-3 win. I don't know which one, but I feel like that's how it's going to go. Or 3-2 win. It's going to go into extra. Ilios will be a 2-1 win or 2-0 win for the Shock. And Numbani, I feel, is going to be a 1-0 win because I think the Valiant full held the team in Numbani. If not, it's going to be a Valiant win, and I don't think the Shock are going to come close on Numbani. So I feel like the game's going to be very close for games 2 and 3, but I feel like games 1 and 4 are going to be a Valiant stomp. So Valiant will win it, I feel, 3-1. Let's move on to the next game, which is the Shanghai Dragons versus the Los Angeles Gladiators. So in map 1, they are also going to Dorado, and I feel like the Los Angeles Gladiators will take this pretty easily. I'm not sure about the map score. Maybe 3-2, 3-1, or I keep forgetting that since Shanghai is going to attack first, I think it's going to be like a 2-1, 1-0 win. The Gladiators might get a full hold. Game 2, which is Temple of Anubis, I think that the Gladiators will struggle greatly, but they might take. But I feel like they'll take a 2-1 victory. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I am predicting that they'll get a 2-1 victory because the Shanghai Dragons have an outstanding Widowmaker player. So I think that that's how that's going to go. Shanghai's going to take the first point very easily, but they'll struggle to take the second point. Game 3 on Ilios, you'll see a lot of parallels here. The Dragons, I feel like, are going to take Ilios because it's going to... Actually, wait, I did this in reverse. Okay, I'm sorry. Game 1 is how... Yeah. I think the Dragons are going to take Game 2 Anubis because of their better Widowmaker play, but I feel like Game 3 the Gladiators are going to take because they are better individually skilled and they're better brawlers. It's going to be a 2-0 or 2-1 victory for Gladiators, depending on if they get Ruins. If they get Ruins, it'll be a 2-1 win. If they don't, it'll be a 2-0 win. Because Dia is going to carry the Dragons hard with Widowmaker, if he can. And finally, Game 4 is on Eichenwald. Eichenwald is going to be a Gladiators win, but I feel like it's going to be close. It's either going to be 3-2 or 4-3. I feel like it's going to be a really close end fight, but I feel like the Gladiators can take that 2-3. Sorry, 2. Yeah, they'll take that 3-2, and overall they'll take it 3-1. So next, let's do the Dallas Fuel versus the Seoul Dynasty, and I feel like this is going to be a very close game. So let's go over map 1 of Junkertown. Both teams did a very poor performance, I feel, on Junkertown. So I really want to see how this map will go. Right now, I'm predicting that Seoul will win Junkertown. I think Seoul will win it 3-2, maybe 4-3. But it's going to be a really close fight. Game 2 is Temple of Anubis yet again. And Dallas they've always done really well on these control maps. I feel like Dallas is going to take this one, and they're going to take it 3-2. They're going to take it in an extra. They're going to take an extra set. They're going to beat Seoul on Anubis 3-2. So they'll tie the series up 1-1. Game 3 on Ilios. I feel like this is another map that Dallas can take. I feel like they're going to take Ilios 2-1. It doesn't matter what maps they go to. It's going to be a 2-1 no matter what, but I'm predicting Dallas will win this one. When it comes down to Nambani, Seoul Dynasty I feel has the advantage because they are really good on Nambani. Seoul Dynasty is going to take Nambani probably 3-2 again because they're really close in skill, I feel like, these teams right now. So we're going to get a map 5, and I feel like map 5 is always on Lijiang Tower. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when it comes down to it, I feel Seoul Dynasty will win Game 5 2-1, meaning that Seoul Dynasty will win a very close match against the Dallas Fuel 3-2. That's my predictions right there for that. So let's move on to the Day 2 matchups. With the London Spitfire versus Florida Mayhem, Philadelphia Fusion versus Houston Outlaws, and Boston Uprising versus New York Excelsior. So I feel like the winners this time are going to be the Spitfire, Outlaws, and Excelsior. Let's go into these matches in detail. So, the first match of London versus Florida, they're going to start on Dorado. London, I feel, is going to just decimate Florida on Dorado. They're going to win 2-1 or 1-0 on Dorado. I feel like they're really going to control that game pretty well. When it comes to Anubis, I can really see London full holding Florida on the first point, winning 1-0. As you can see, I don't have faith in Florida in this match whatsoever because of their poor performance in the preseason. Game 3 is on Oasis. This one I feel is going to be a bit closer. It's going to be a 2-1 win for London though, because Florida, this is where they have to try and take a map, but I still think they'll come up short. Game 4 is on Nambani, and I feel already down 3-0. Florida's going to be demoralized, and they're not going to do well at all, and London will win it 2-1 or 1-0 yet again. I feel like this is going to be an easy, clean sweep for London. Sorry, Florida fans. Let's go over the next match, which is the Philadelphia Fusion versus the Houston Outlaws. So, Game 1 is going to be on Dorado. And I honestly think that the Houston Outlaws are going to take Dorado 3-2 over a new Philadelphia Fusion squad who comes off strong with something to prove. And they're going to come out stronger in Game 2, which is Horizon Lunar Colony. I'm pretty sure Houston looked either really strong or really weak. No, yeah, they looked really strong, but still, Philadelphia Fusion, I think, are going to surprise us by beating the Outlaws on Horizon. I think they're going to do it 2-1. They're probably going to beat Houston 2-1 or 2-0 on Horizon. But when it comes to Oasis, this is going to be a really close match because I'm pretty sure Houston doesn't do well on control so far. But Houston, I think, is going to take it 2-1, but I think all the points are going to go 99-99. It's going to be really close. And for a nail-biter Eichenwald finish, Houston is going to scrape by, winning 4-3 on Eichenwald. I can see that happening, and it's going to be a really close match between the Fusion and the Outlaws. However, I still think the Outlaws are going to take it 3-1 because the Fusion's inexperience so far is what's going to be their downfall, and it might cause some internal struggles. Let's move on to the next match, which is the Boston Uprising versus the New York Excelsior. So, game 1 is on Junkertown for these two teams. And Boston, I feel, is going to come out and surprise us all with a... I feel they're going to come out and surprise us all with a 3-2 win over New York Excelsior on the Junkertown. And it's going to really shock New York how well that Boston has played. Game 2 is Horizon Lunar Colony. This is perfect for Boston because I feel like this Horizon plays better to their defensive skills. And I feel like they're going to take Horizon to 2-1. So Boston has a 2-0 lead over New York. And going into Game 3 on Ilios, I feel like New York is really going to kick it right back up into gear. That was me hitting my fist, by the way. Or my fist hitting my palm, by the way. Very expressive person. But yeah, Game 3, I think the Excelsior they're really going to step it up. And they're going to take Boston Uprising down 2-1 in a close game. So Excelsior are down by 1. Game 4 is on Nambani. And the New York Excelsior and Boston, they're going to have a very close Nambani, and I feel like New York's going to take it 3-2 to tie the series back up 2-2. The Excelsior are then going to win the tie-break Game 5, which I think is always on Lijiang Tower. They're going to win that 2-0, as Boston's going to be burnt out, and they don't have the stamina yet or the experience to take a match to 5 games and win it against a high-skill team. They're going to do a very good job keeping games 1 through 4 all very close, or games 1 and 2 and 4 very close. New York is going to kick it into high gear on Game 3 as they know they need to win. Boston's need to win since will come back in Game 4, but it'll fall off in Game 5 as they'll get burnt out. New York is basically going to win a stamina match, I feel, against them. Boston Uprising, they're better than most people are giving them credit for, and it'll be interesting to see. So let's move on to the Day 3 matches on Friday, which are Los Angeles Valiant versus the Dallas Fuel, Florida Mayhem versus Boston Uprising, San Francisco Shock versus the Shanghai Dragons. Those are the 3 matches, and I feel like the winners this time are going to be the Dallas Fuel, Boston Uprising, and Shanghai Dragons. Yep, you heard me right, the Shanghai Dragons over the Shock. We'll go over this. So, okay, here we go. Starting off on Junkertown, it's going to be the Valiant versus the Dallas Fuel. This one, I feel like the Los Angeles Valiant will take over the Fuel. They will take Junkertown at a score of 3-1. I feel like the Valiant are going to come off strong, and that's going to be how the match goes. Game 2 is on Lunar Colony. This fits Dallas Fuel, I think, a little bit better, and I feel the Fuel are going to either full hold the Valiant or they'll win 2-1. So that'll be an interesting match to see. Game 3 is going to go on Ilios, and I feel like no matter what, it's going to be a 2-1 victory for the Fuel. I feel like the maps that they're really going to win are, more specifically, they're going to win Well, and they're going to win Ruins, because of that corner trap that they like to do on Oasis. I'm not sure how well that'll work in Lighthouse. I feel like that could work better in Lighthouse, but I'm not sure. Maybe they'll win 2-0, maybe they'll win 2-1. I'm not sure. But I feel like they'll take Ilios. So it's a 2-1 Fuel lead going into Nambani, and I feel like they'll take Nambani as well. They'll probably take it 3-2, as it'll be a very close finish. But overall, I feel like the Fuel will best the Valiant, if not barely. So the Uprising will take a close match over the Florida Mayhem. So the first map is going to be on Dorado, and I feel like the Florida Mayhem will actually take Dorado 3-2. It's going to be a decently close match, but I feel like the Uprising can take that, or will lose it. I'm not sure if it... I'm very interested to see how this match will play out, but I do feel like Florida Mayhem will take Dorado. Game 2 is on Temple of Anubis, and I feel like Boston Uprising had the advantage on Anubis, and they'll take it 2-1. Game 3 is on Oasis. The Uprising seem to be better on control maps than they are on other maps, and I feel like they'll take Oasis 2-0. Game 4 is on Eichenwald, and I can see the Florida Mayhem really coming back strong and winning it 3-2 or 3-1. So it'll go into a Game 5 tiebreak, and this one I feel like Boston will take 2-1 in a very close series against the Florida Mayhem. And let's go on to the last match of the day, which I feel like would shock a lot of people with me picking it. The Shanghai Dragons over the San Francisco Shock. San Francisco is going to win Game 1 on Junkertown. I can see that and really happening. Shanghai, they might struggle a bit coming off. So I'll predict San Francisco winning 3-1 on Junkertown. Game 2 is Horizon Lunar Colony. San Francisco, I feel like they're going to come into this a little cocky because Shanghai had a poor performance in the preseason, but D is the better Widowmaker. There's not a lot of Widowmaker spots on this one, but except for the first point, Shanghai will take the first point very easily, and they'll defend the first point very easily. I think that Shanghai will win this map either 2-1 or 1-0. And yeah, I feel like Horizon's going to be a very close match. Game 3 is on Ilios yet again, and because of the Shanghai having the better Widowmaker, I feel they'll defeat San Francisco 2-0 on Ilios. Coming into Namani, it's going to be a very close match, but I feel like San Francisco is going to finish just short, finishing 2-3. And Shanghai will take it 3-2, I mean. But overall, Shanghai, I feel, is going to hold strong and actually win a match this week against the San Francisco Shock. This isn't going to happen often, I don't feel, but I feel like it will happen then. So, Saturday's matchups, Day 4's matchups, are going to be the London Spitfire versus Philadelphia Fusion, New York Excelsior versus Houston Outlaws, and Seoul Dynasty versus the Los Angeles Gladiators. The 3 winners I feel are going to be the Spitfire, Outlaws, and Dynasty. But let's actually go over these matches. So, London versus the Fusion. London, I feel, are going to take Game 1 on Junkertown very easily. They'll win it 3-0 or 3-1. They'll continue a dominant... they'll be a dominant force still, even as they beat Mayhem 4-0 in my predictions. They'll keep this dominant performance rolling. They'll beat Fusion on Game 1. Game 2 on Horizon Lunar Colony. The Spitfire, I think, will take a 3-2 victory here, as they'll get shocked at how the Fusion have explosive DPS, and they'll lose both points. However, they'll be able to hold it and beat them in the tiebreaker, and again take a 3-2 win. So on Ilios, I feel like the Fusion will shock the Spitfire here more than on any other map, and take it 2-1. The Fusion will get a breath of life into Nambani, and I feel like they'll complete the map. However, I feel like the Spitfire will complete the map as well, and defeat the Fusion in overtime. I feel like this map score will be 5-3. And the Spitfire will take a closer than expected 3-1 victory. After dominating the first 2 games, the last 2 will be extremely close, and can go either way. Let's move on to the next match of New York Excelsior versus the Houston Outlaws. This is going to be the closest match of the week, I feel. One of the closest matches of the week. Game 1 is going to be Junkertown, and I feel like the Houston Outlaws will take Junkertown 3-2. It'll be an extremely close match, but I feel like the Outlaws can do it. On Temple of Anubis, I feel like the New York Excelsior will take Anubis possibly 2-1, maybe 1-0, I'm not sure. But I feel like Excelsior have the advantage against the Outlaws on Anubis. Going into Ilios, however, I think this is where the Outlaws will outshine the Excelsior, and I feel like they'll take it 3-2 or 2-1. I mean, I feel like the Outlaws do have a better individual skill and can really take it out on the Excelsior. Game 4, however, Excelsior is going to come back and beat the Outlaws. I feel like they'll beat them 3-1. Kind of a little bit of a dominant performance. However, this won't hold, as in Game 5, I feel like the Outlaws will really come out, both teams will come out really strong, really hungry for a win. The Outlaws will take it 2-1 on the control point. So yeah, that's my predictions, and if everything pans out like how I think it will. Seoul Dynasty will be 2-0 this week. London Spitfire, they'll be 2-0 this week as well. The Dallas Fuel will be 1-1. The Houston Outlaws will be 2-0. The Los Angeles Valiant will be 1-1. The New York Excelsior will be 1-1. Boston Uprising will be 1-1. The San Francisco Shock will be 0-2. The Los Angeles Gladiators will be 1-1. I forgot to do the Gladiators. I'm so sorry. I thought that was... Okay, so you guys heard all that, but still, let's go over the Gladiators with Dynasty. I'm so sorry. Dynasty and Gladiators, I feel like on game 1, Junkertown, Dynasty will take it probably 3-1 over the Gladiators. Game 2 on Horizon Lunar, I feel like Seoul Dynasty will probably take it 2-0 over the Gladiators. Game 3, the Gladiators will shine on their scrappiness, how well they could play DPS. They'll take Ilios 2-1 over the Dynasty, but unamused by their attempt to show some life, the Dynasty will win Game 4. And they'll win it like 3-1, 3-0, something like that. They'll be unamused at the Gladiators' attempt to come back in the series, with a 3-1 overall victory over the Gladiators. I'm sorry about that, guys, so let me just restart. Seoul will be 2-0, London will be 2-0, Dallas will be 1-1, Houston will be 2-0, Valiant will be 2-0, or 1-1 I mean. The Excelsior will be 1-1, Boston will be 1-1, San Francisco will be 0-2, the Gladiators will be 1-1, the Mayhem will be 0-2, the Fusion will be 0-2, and finally, the Shanghai Dragons will be 1-1. Those are my predictions for how Week 1 will go. I had to predict one upset. I just had to, and it was Shanghai over the Shock. I just wanted one. I wanted one. Maybe Houston over New York's an upset too, but I'm not sure. Upsets will happen in this league, so I'm probably wrong on some of these. Most probably I'm wrong with the Dragons, but I want to see an upset, and that's what I think can happen. So thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, let's see how well my predictions pan out. I'll see you guys in the next video.